Welcome to the Arsenal Show. We are live and we have got a jam-packed show for you tonight. I'm joined by my co-host, Jerome Marks. How you doing, Jerome?
Yeah, good. All good, thank you.
Good. And we've got plenty to talk about. We're going to be discussing a little bit more in depth on the West Ham victory. We're going to be talking about Arsenal trying their hardest to offer Eddie Nketiah a new contract and whether they should. We're going to be talking about Aaron Ramsdale's current form. Is it form? Is it his level? What's going on with him at the moment? Is it just a little blip? And we're going to look at some of the transfer stories that will be going around today as well. First and foremost, Jerome, now the dust has settled, as I always say. The West Ham game's over. Did you manage to have a look at the highlights? What's your thoughts? Do you think he was harsh on your player ratings, or do you think he was fair after all?
It's always hard, isn't it? Sort of straight after a game, because like the emotions are still sort of there. No, I think we were pretty fair with the scores we gave the boys. I think they'll probably admit it themselves, and even Arteta said it in his interview after the game. He said, didn't he? We won ugly, so when you win ugly, that by definition that means that you're not playing the greatest, prettiest football in the world. But that's not what matters at the moment. Like we've said, the players that are unavailable, the players that are stepping in, they're getting the results. I mean, it's maybe not sustainable long term to play like this. Yeah. But for the time being, I think maybe we need to forget about that and just back the boys, and hopefully they've got sort of 4 more performances in them.
I think Arteta said that himself. To play like this is not sustainable to keep victories, but it's also very important to have as part of your arsenal, should we say, when it comes to games. It can't always be pretty, can it?
No, exactly. And it's just great experience for a lot of our young players to go through this. So yeah, no issues really. I think we need to, in terms of our expectations, I think level of performance, the expectations need to be a bit lower perhaps. I know we all want to play fantastic football, but let's not focus on that for the moment. Get carried away with that and just focus on the results. And as I said the other day, that is a massive 3 points. Massive.
Yeah, no, it is. Arsenal were accused of bottling it when they lost the 3 games against Crystal Palace, Brighton, and Southampton. Are they showing now a level of maturity that's something they might have taken out of those 3 games?
Yeah, possibly. To be honest with you, when people say they bottled it, when they use that expression, I don't really like it, and I don't agree with it. I just think maybe your team weren't good enough. I don't think they bottled it. I think these are professional players. Like I don't think teams do bottle it. I just think they're good enough or they're not good enough. And those 3 games we didn't play well. I don't think we bottled it. So yeah, it's not something that I really agree with, to be honest. When people say that, you're the same as well, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's lazy. I think to look at those 3 games and say Arsenal have bottled it, it's just easy to say. When if you was to look at them a bit more deeper, the first game. Look, the first game was coming. Crystal Palace away from home is always a hard game, and I'd have to also say that we were due a bit of a spanking because, like, we've been on a good run. We've rode our luck at times, and we were due a game where if we weren't at our best, we were gonna have a tough time. And I didn't expect it to be a 3-0 loss, but it was. It is what it is. We move on. The Brighton game, I thought Mikel Arteta got it wrong. I know Steve said last week that it was maybe Mikel Arteta's opportunity to see different players in different positions. But one, Arsenal not in the situation where they can essentially test out things with the
that was the
squad.
that was the Jacker at left back game, wasn't it? That won the
Yeah,
Brighton game.
yeah. And two, I think you should know these things. I think you with these players every day, week in, week out, you see where they can I feel like you should know as a manager whether it's going to work with Xhaka at left back or in certain games. And I also feel that I just think that he should have just had a bit more belief in some of the other players there. And then I think the Southampton game was a little bit of a hangover of that, where again it was kind of playing Saka on the left-hand side to compensate for Tavares having been left back, so that Saka was there to cover, and it just didn't work. It didn't work. It left us very ordinary. It left us just, there was no sparks in the team, because our spark is the way that Saka cuts in from the left and creates chances. That our spark is the way Martinelli cuts in from the right and he's just tenacious. When you've got them both on the right and the left, it completely takes away from that, because they're not conventional wingers. They're not in. They're inside forwards. So it left us sort of limp, is the word, against Southampton. And I think we've seen in the game since that with the team in all the positions, all the players on all the positions that we would have played from that game in the Brighton game and the Southampton game, that was the way forward. And it's worked out.
Yeah, with talking about those 3 defeats, I guess if you want to maybe look at it in a positive way or put a positive spin on it, losing those 3 games and then winning these 3 games, it means that going into the last few games, like, the momentum is with us.
Yeah.
If we would have, say, won those 3 games and lost these 3, it'd be all doom and gloom now. Whereas now, we've got that bit of momentum, haven't we? I know you can't. It's not as easy as that. And choosing, I'll take these and I'll do this, I'll do that. But as it stands at the moment, you'd probably have rather be in the position we're in now rather than going into this Leeds and Spurs game off the back of like some poor results. So.
I agree. Again, like you said, you can't pick and choose when you want to win and lose games. But if you had a choice, like it sounds silly because you don't want to lose those games because they're bread and butter. What people say is you shouldn't be talking about losing those games. You should be winning those games and winning these games. But we haven't. All right. So it's one of them. I think you're right. It's one of them. Now the momentum's there, and plus, you've beaten Man United, you've beaten Chelsea, and you've beaten West Ham. They're massive games for us. So that will boost our self-esteem, self-belief going into the game against Tottenham. And I'm hoping that we don't mess it up against Leeds as well, because I think since Jesse Marshall's come in, I don't think they've been beaten, have they? I think they've won 3, drawn 2.
Yeah,
maybe lost 1.
Maybe just the Man City game the other day.
They've
done well.
They have done well.
All
the managers that seem to have got sacked have had a really good pickup. It also goes for Burnley as well, who Tottenham have got to pay. I think it's second to last game or last game of the season. And the Michael Jackson, he rises again. He's taken as many points as Pep Guardiola since he's coming as well. So hopefully we do our own favours. But it's that Leeds game again. It's equally as big as the West Ham game for me, because one thing that I do like to hear from the players themselves, I've heard it from Odegaard now, and I've heard it from Saka, is they said every game's a cup final now. We've got to win every game. We've got to leave nothing on the pitch, and we've got to put it all in. So they know what they've got to do to get this top 4. They're not thinking about Europa League. They're thinking about top 4. When you hear Mikel Arteta talk about where the team is, where it's going, when he gets told that you've done well, you solidified Europe, and he goes, yes, we've got other targets though. So those are the kind of things you want to be hearing from your manager, innit?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
roll on Sunday.
Yeah, roll on Sunday, definitely. Next topic of conversation, the one that's been rolling on for about a year or 2 years now. Our striker Eddie Nketiah, he stepped in for Alexander Lacazette, who hasn't been in the greatest of form in the last few games. He's kind of lost that sort of that sort of niche role he was playing. It kind of just got washed away. People have wised up to the fact that he sits in deep. There's been no real pressure on their centre backs, which has meant we've had to change it up. And Eddie Nketiah seems to have breathed a new lease of life in our forward line by just running, by having a bit of pace and getting in the box. They're the two things that I've seen Eddie do, which has made a big difference. Apart from Lacazette, what's your thoughts on Eddie's? First of all, on Eddie's form since he's come back in instead of Lacazette.
Yeah, so I heard a good one earlier with Nketiah. Something along the lines of he had more shots in the game against West Ham than Lacazette's had since like January or something, like something ridiculous like that.
Stat? Was that a legit stat?
Like
that's not a joke.
He's had more shots than that game. Like I think he had maybe 6 shots than Lacazette's had like in a couple of months or something. Like it was something silly like that.
Tragic. It's so bad.
You know what he has done, Nketiah?
Yeah.
Part of it is, I think, what we're comparing him to. So we're comparing him, aren't we, to Lacazette because he's the most recent striker that we've seen, and we always talk about players that have set the bar, and Lacazette hadn't set the bar too high. So I think anyone really that would have come in, I think would have probably looked half decent. But you're right, he's been mobile. He's given us an extra threat in behind, and he's in the short time that he's played the last few games. I mean, he's doing himself no harm at all in terms of either whether it be at Arsenal or another club. Like he could easily have just sort of not put the effort in and thought, you know what, I'm just going to see this contract out. I don't really need to put much effort. I'm not going to be here next season, so I'll just go through the motions. But credit to him and credit to the manager for getting him in the right frame of mind. And he looks dangerous. I think we said, Kieron, didn't we? When a good few months ago, I don't want to go overboard with him, but we said like he looked maybe a bit more improved when he played this. Remember we had that little chat about him where we said he looked a bit better.
Yeah, and I think we got laughed off at the call for potentially. And this was when Abba was there. I think I'll potentially play Nketiah over the two of them. Well, now looking back, it's not such a bad statement. But it's Eddie Nketiah this season is a different type. He's a different player. He could be the same player that he's always been, but he's hungry. He's got that. He's moved up a level of that player. You can see that in training. He's sharper. It's still not to say that I think he's the answer. I don't think he is. I don't think he is.
Yeah.
However, I think. And I don't think it's wrong to change your opinion on Eddie. I think that Eddie has shown us so much more of his ability than we thought. And I personally think that we wrote him off too early. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about me and myself. I personally think I wrote him off too early. And again, that's not to say that I think he's the answer to Arsenal, but I think he could be an option for Arsenal off the back of what I've seen now. And that's not to say that he should be the first to second striker. I think he should be a squad player and one of the three. I don't think Balogun's ready. And I think Eddie would be perfect to sit in there. Give him a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
And look, if you don't work out this first season, Eddie, you've got 1 year left in your deal and we'll sell you. Because Balogun would have had an extra year of on loan. I think a deal here, a 2 year, even a 3 year, it don't matter. As long as the conversations between the players and the management is if it doesn't work out here, as soon as you're ready to go, you can go.
Yeah.
Go.
I think there's a few different factors in this. I think in terms of his playing time, I think he said himself in an interview he done, like, he hasn't really had a run of games in the team for whatever reason. And I think for any player, but especially a striker, that's something that you do probably need to give him a fair judgment, I guess. Now, in terms of whether he signs a new contract or not, if Arsenal go out and sign 2 centre forwards, 2 players that can play down the middle, would Eddie be comfortable being sort of the third choice? I don't know if he would,
because that's where he started off this season, where he
Yeah.
didn't sign a new contract, and
Yeah.
he'd be going into off the back of signing a new contract and being in that same position again.
I think
so. It doesn't necessarily suit him with that aspect. But on the flip side, where does he go?
That's it. I think if you said to Eddie, look, we're going to sign a new centre forward, but you're going to be like, it's hard to give these guarantees, but you're going to be like the second choice centre forward. I think if that's the case, I think you sign a contract with Arsenal and you train with these fantastic players, and being a second choice striker, you're going to get games. Being a third choice,
you're
going to be super limited, I think.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I think if you were to ask me what do I think will happen now, I think it's a toss of a coin, to be honest.
It's tough. It is really tough. It's really, really tough.
Because it's not only what Arsenal will do, it's what does the player want. It's not straightforward just to say, but there's too many, there's a lot of elements to this one. And I tell you what, if he has a blinded end to the season as well, then it's an even harder decision.
I think what he's done so far, and I wouldn't say he's been blinding. I wouldn't say. I think the Chelsea result and the 2 goals that he got against Chelsea, what we've seen of him, just his general play, I think there's more levels to his game. I think I'm seeing a player who could get better. I'm seeing a player who's got more to his game than I first thought, and I'm seeing a player who I don't think he's just a goal scorer. He's not just a kid in the box that just taps it in. I think he's got more to his game. I think we've seen the pace that he's got on its own. He's a lot quicker than I thought he was. One thing that Graham Souness said, Nketiah I thought was the best player on the pitch against West Ham. He was always threatening. He had a couple of shots where he came in on the right foot and he made the goalkeeper work. You always want him to run forward, stretch the defender. His contract is about to run out, which I'm amazed at. I really am. He will not be short of teams wanting him. I really like him. I thought he was fabulous. Now, who do you think the teams are going to be that are going to be coming for Eddie Nketiah, and they're going to be offering him more than Arsenal, which is first team, like you are a starter?
Yeah, this is it. I don't think there's a team out there that I can think of that will turn around to Eddie and say, you're our number one. I think clubs will sign him, maybe for him to be either the number 2 or to challenge the number 1. But I don't think he's done enough for a Premier League team to sign him and be their first choice centre forward.
Like you look at Crystal Palace, they were in for him in the summer. They opted to go to Edouard in the end because Arsenal wanted more money. But do you see Eddie getting into that Crystal Palace side and holding down a first team spot there?
Well, I think even Edouard's. I think I saw something today. He's only completed 90 minutes 5 times this season. They've been playing this Mateta up front recently. So
which is someone who's going to bully people, who's going to hold up the ball, and isn't necessarily going to be scoring goals. That's not what they want Mateta for.
Yeah. So even if he went to Palace, I don't think he would have played more than Edouard. So yeah, it's really hard. It depends what he wants from his career. Does he want? If he wants to play for a top team, this is probably his best chance of being around a top team, being with Arsenal. If he wants to play football, then I think he's going to have to drop down a level. It all depends what he wants from his career. And Arsenal, I'm sure, if they offered him a new contract, I'm sure the money would be excellent. You know, they're not going to offer him poor money at Arsenal. They'd offer him very good money. It just depends what he wants from his career, I think.
Yeah.
And who Arsenal and what plans Arsenal have got in terms of other strikers. But from an Arsenal point of view, like, I don't think you can be held to ransom by Nketiah. You need to make your decisions, do what you got to do, look after yourself, and don't let Nketiah's decision like affect what you do. You've got to be like ruthless yourself, have your targets, and then if Eddie's part of that, great. If not, no problem. But I think giving him a contract would be great anyway, because then it means that if you did sign to a 3-year contract, then if he did play at some point, then at least you could sell him for money. Whereas now, obviously, we're in a mess. Not in a mess, but we're not going to get really any money apart from, I think if he stays in the Premier League, we get like a small tribunal fee for him. If he goes abroad, I don't think you get any. It's something like that.
Yeah.
Depends where he goes.
Yeah.
Paul
Merson said that Eddie Nketiah should stay at Arsenal. You're not going to find many bigger clubs than Arsenal, and once you leave those big clubs, where'd you go? You're only going to be trying to work your way up the leagues, and you might never get there yourself. Do you think it's a fair comment from Paul Merson?
Yeah, I think so. There's only a handful of, like, in England, a handful of like sort of top teams. And well, look what happened to sort of Wilfred Zaha. I suppose he tried it at one of the top teams, and then that was it. He spent his career at Palace, really. And this is from someone that's like played the game and can look back and have regrets and think about things once the career's finished. This is what I'm saying. It depends what he wants from his career in Nketiah.
Yeah, this is someone who was at Arsenal, a big club himself, then went to another big club in Aston Villa, and then went to Middlesbrough, a team who are still another big club. But it's like you're only ever working your way down from Arsenal.
Yeah.
Now, I think that was his point. It's like when you leave Arsenal, okay, there's Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, Tottenham. Where are you going? And are you going to get the game time that you want? Like, are you better off biding your time at Arsenal, waiting for your opportunity and trying to take that, or are you going off to start fresh new? If he goes abroad, somewhere like Germany, I think he could potentially get game time, get goals, and do something half decent. Like a Leverkusen are looking at him apparently, but they've got. Are they still got Patrick Schick, or has he gone to Leipzig?
But look, Kieron, the Premier League is where it's at, isn't it?
Exactly. He's only going to be playing to get back into there. And then where's he going to go to? Even if he smashes it at Leipzig, where's he going to go?
Yeah.
Who's it going to go to? A Newcastle? Like, where's he going to go?
Yeah, that's it. He hasn't. Like Tammy Abrahams has done brilliantly going abroad, but when he went to Roma, he'd already done more than Eddie. Like he'd scored a lot, scored quite a few goals at Premier League level.
Yeah, England international, scored for them a few times.
Yeah, it's going to be so interesting to see what happens with it. But he's like, you got to give him like all the credit in the world so far. As long as he can sort of keep up his energy, hopefully score a few goals between now and the end of the season.
Yeah.
You got to hold your hands up and just, say to him sort of, well done.
Yeah.
And see what happens. And he done very well, I think, as well, not to bite when Declan Rice was all in his face at the weekend as well.
Yeah,
that showed a good level of maturity, I thought.
100%. I would have bitten. I wouldn't have been. I'd have been. I would have bitten.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to hold back. So, yeah, well done, Eddie. And I think you're right. If anyone deserves credit for this, it's Mr. Nketiah. He sat there patiently, done a few interviews. He said his thing. People have not liked that he's come out and spoken, but he's been blunt. He's been to the point. He said, "Look, no one's seen me play. Like I haven't had an opportunity in the first team for you to say I'm not good enough. I understand you may think that, but I've not had a chance to show you. And he's come in the last 3 games, and he's showing us that actually there's a player in there, and we were all quick to judge someone who we saw in cup games who is still young.
See, this is what I think is sometimes. I think this happens with Eddie. I think players get thrown in when they're way too young. They're not ready, and it damages them. I think, and I think this happened with Eddie. I think he got thrown in. I know he scored on his debut, but I just think he got thrown in way too young. Was never ready for Premier League football, and he's playing Premier League football when he's not ready, and that makes him look probably worse than he is. Yeah. And I don't think that's helped him at all.
Yeah, he had a couple of loan spells which just didn't work out. He went to Leeds, and Leeds are a very specific team. We've got Patrick Bamford up front under Bielsa. He wasn't getting game time. When he did play, he scored, but he just wasn't getting games. And people don't see the fact that he's like, people were looking at Eddie going to Leeds and just saying, well, he went to Leeds and he couldn't do it, couldn't get games at Leeds. You're not looking like Patrick Bamford. I think Leeds paid a hatful for Rodrigo. Patrick Bamford, you couldn't get him out of the team. Rodrigo was a bench player and coming on as a sub. Teams, when a team like Leeds have a specific player, it's very hard to dislodge him. Eddie Nketiah wasn't going to do that. Not
especially. I think he was 19 or 20 at the time as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
young.
No, he was. Yeah, no, you're right. Very unfair. Very, very, very unfair. But watch this space, mate. We'll be right on top of it to see where it is going. From the noises that I'm hearing at the moment, it seems very much like he's made up his mind and he's going to be leaving because he can't be guaranteed a starter or first team football. So yeah, if that is the case, I can totally understand. But let's hope that for this running towards the end of the season that he continues to give his all and tucks away a couple of goals, hopefully against the Spuds on the 12th of May. We will see. Next up, Aaron Ramsdale. Jerome had such a good start to the season. He had a little bit of an injury. I think there was a goal against Liverpool where people say he should have saved it, where he got done at the front post. Since when he came back, he had a few shaky games. Against West Ham, he looked all right again. What's your thoughts on Aaron Ramsdale? Hit a bit of a bad patch of form, but do you feel like he's through it now? Do you feel like we're actually seeing the real Aaron Ramsdale, as some people will say, ready to blast him? What's your thoughts on Ramsdale?
Yeah, he's definitely conceded, I think, a few goals that you maybe would have expected him to save. I mean, Kieron, you're probably better qualified than me on the keeper situation, being a keeper yourself. I think the goal against Chelsea, the first goal, I think Werner's goal, I think he probably could have done better there. I just think he played so well early on in the season.
Yeah,
that we thought like this is his level and that's it. He's always going to play like this. But another one of our sort of, especially for a goalie, like young players, he's still going to make mistakes here and there. He's not perfect, but no goalie is.
Yeah.
I think we got to back him. I think he's still capable of pulling off some fantastic saves like that one, the Declan Rice header from the corner. I think Arteta likes the way he plays. I think he likes the way that he can chip balls out to the fullback, likes the way he plays with his feet. And I think unless he has an absolute horror show, I think he'll stick with him, to be honest. I don't think he's in such bad form there. It's worth sort of changing the keeper. Yeah, look, he's not playing as well as he was earlier in the season, but I don't think he's playing as bad as some people are suggesting.
I agree.
It's squeaky bum time, isn't it? And so everyone's going to be feeling the pressure. And you know what it's like. Last line of defence. The pressure on a goalie is probably more than any other
Yeah,
player.
mate,
If you do
it's
make a
rough.
mistake, it's
It's
going to
rough.
cost you a goal. Yeah,
Yeah, and some of the worst times for a goalkeeper when we're talking about pressure is when your strikers aren't scoring. So he would have felt that a few weeks back when we just weren't scoring any goals, when we were losing game after game. That's when he would have felt the pressure because we weren't scoring at the other end, and it was just like, oh, am I going to get a break here? Yeah, I think Aaron Ramsdale, all in all, over the season, I think some fans are very quick to forget how good he was at the start of the season. We're talking about a guy who, of probably about 10 games, probably about 7 of them got man of the match. I think he got 2 player of the months for us, potentially even 3, which says a lot. And yeah, I think Aaron Ramsdale has been excellent this season. He has hit a slightly bad patch, but like everyone
not
goes through
drastic.
that.
It's not drastic, is it? It's not.
No, it's not. It's not been drastic. He got a bit flappy a few weeks ago, but he seems to have sorted that out. Yeah, he's a couple of shots, like you said, that you feel like he could have done better on. But like, I'm not going to dig him out about that. Like every player has their moments. Every player has their off days. And I think that there were probably people out there that were looking ready and waiting for his off day because of how much they blasted him when he did sign. So yeah, I wouldn't read too much into his form at the moment. And another reason why that is because I feel like there's still a lot more for him to give. I feel like there's a lot more for him to grow. I think he can be better at commanding his area. I think even though his distribution has been excellent, I still think it could get better. I think his handling of crosses could be better. So they're 3 things just off the top of my head where a player who's been exceptional for 70-80% of the season, pulling off weldies, which we just couldn't believe. The save against Leicester, unbelievable save. I think there was a save against Tottenham as well, where he pulled off a unbelievable double save.
Also, we're having this chat about him now, and in both of these games, especially the United game, he probably pulled off a match-winning save when he tipped that shot onto the post from United's right back, Dalot. That's a match-winning save, that is, because they go and score that. So despite him having maybe not a great period of time, he's still producing, like, I think, match-winning saves.
Yeah, no, he is. You're right. And the one against Declan, I think what it is as well, because we've been so used to him pulling off arched back weldies from top bins, these saves where it's like a Declan Rice close range, like the Dalot one, where, yes, it's a good save, but if it goes in, some people are questioning whether he should have saved it. But look, to get the fingertips on it, to push it onto the post against Dalot was very good. And I think the Declan Rice save has been very underrated. And it was a very important time for Arsenal as well. So I've got no issues with Aaron Ramsdale, and I think he's definitely one for the future. Still, I feel like he's got a lot of room to grow. Do you think he's got a higher ceiling?
Yeah, definitely. Like, what do goalkeepers peak at? Maybe late 20s, early 30s. He's way off that. So happy with Ramsdale, for sure.
All right, happy with Ramsdale. Another player we could be happy with is he signed a new contract last season. He's been ever present when called upon. It's Rob Holding. Rob Holding he's had a bit of stick over the few years. He got his goal against West Ham, which was good to see. But it seems like he's got a little bit of a new role in the team at the moment, where he's Mr. Reliable coming off the bench to shore things up. Which did you ever think you'd be saying that about Rob Holding?
Yeah, I know. I don't know. It's he's obviously very, very well liked in the group, isn't he? Especially
Uh-huh.
from the manager. And I think maybe when we're playing deep and we've got to defend the box, maybe that's probably one of his strengths, I suppose, getting in the way, blocking shots, clearances, heading the ball. When he doesn't have, because obviously I think one of his weaknesses probably is maybe his lack of pace. And so if you're defending your box, you're not really doing lots of long distance sprinting,
Mm-hmm.
which is an area maybe where he would come up short. So I guess you're sort of playing to his strengths when we've got to defend deep and crosses are coming in and he can block shots,
Mm-hmm.
clear balls.
Yeah.
And he's not horrific on the ball either. Like he's
Yeah.
okay. He's okay. He's not, he's no Franco Baresi, but he's all right.
But is he there to be a Franco Baresi? Surely he's there to be
Yeah.
a header and hoofer, and which
I,
every team needs.
I think I'll tell you what. I think it helped that he had Tomiyasu next to him rather than Cedric. I think if Cedric was next to him, I think Cedric might have given him a few balls that might have put him in a bit of trouble. I think that having Tomiyasu next to him was a massive help.
I think having Tomiyasu has been a massive breath of fresh air, just in general. He seems to have come in again at the right time, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, we don't know what's going to happen on Sunday, but I imagine if Holding plays, I think you'll see Tomiyasu play right back instead of Cedric.
Yeah, it's surely Tomiyasu he's got to be the right back for the rest of the season, surely.
Yeah, it's just purely down to fitness, isn't it? If he's fit enough, he'll play. Yeah, and I think he's one of those players, Tomiyasu, where you got to protect him as well. So
yeah, I think that's why he came off the other day. They said it was more of a precaution because he was cramping up in his calf, which is where he had his injuries in it. So yeah, as soon as he feels anything in that, you're getting him off the pitch because
wrap him up in cotton wool is one of those, isn't it?
It's got to be done. It's got to be done because I feel like even when you're hearing things about Thomas Partey, when they're saying, "Oh, Thomas Partey, could he be back? He's ahead of schedule." It's like, no, if you don't need Thomas Partey, please don't play him because that would be another injury setback if he was to come back too early, which would leave him out even longer. And you can't keep going over the same injuries. You can't keep damaging the same muscles. It's going to end up. The last thing you want is for him to need surgery because you've brought him back too early and it wasn't needed. And it's happened. It's happened this last season. It happened this season, and I understand you've got to have faith and trust in the players, but the players need to be more responsible. And sometimes you just got to take it out of their hands because, clearly there's an energy in the team where people don't want to miss out on games and they're willing to put their life on the line, but it's not worth it. Just there's other players in the team that can come in for that one game that you're not playing and sit in and play. Like you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. So before we get onto the transfer news, how many players do you feel that Arsenal need to bring in the summer? Because there was noises going about that Arsenal were only potentially going to be looking to bring in 2, and then I thought to myself, surely that just are they just talking about first team players and the rest will be squad players?
Yeah,
because 2 you can't be talking about 2. Like if you was talking about first team players, how many first team players do you think Arsenal need?
Yeah, I think maybe 3, perhaps. In terms of play, I don't really look at it as like I look at it as how many players do they need? How many players do we need for our squad? And I don't really like
what
the
you
term.
think 3's enough?
No, not at all. No,
Okay.
I think no. I obviously depending on what happens with the players we got out on loan. Like if Saliba doesn't come back, then I think you've got to buy at least one centre back.
What would you say to Saliba? Because look, there's a lot of talk about Saliba, and I don't really believe much of it. There's too much talk. There's too many questions. Yeah, of the same question being asked by the journalists. So for me, that sounds like they got the answer they want to hear. They've got the most traction, so they're going to keep on asking that question every time because they know the player's going to come out with the same answer. And if he comes out with something different, it's a headline. If he comes out with the same answer, we can just twist it around to make it sound like it's the end of the world.
I'll tell you what you do. White and Gabriel, as good as been, let's face it, they got zero competition, right?
Yeah.
I think if you want to manage the situation, and in terms of Saliba, I think you say to Saliba, like, everyone's got a clean slate. I'm not gonna have a first choice centre back partnership like you three or you four. Like, I'm gonna choose it game by game or something, because whether he does it like that, but basically you've got to put pressure on the centre backs, because otherwise they're going to be cruising. And I think their performances will improve knowing that they've got players that are ready to take their places. Especially with it being a World Cup coming up as well, they're going to want to play. And I just think we've got no competition at centre back, and you say to Saliba, if you're good enough, you'll play. Yeah, and you leave it at that. If you've got Europe, you're gonna play games.
Exactly. I think there's not enough emphasis has been put on the fact that Arsenal have been in 3 competitions this year. You can't really count the Premier League. We're not. We're in it, but we're not in it. So we're in 3 competitions this year, 2 cups. And how many more games we'd be playing if we were in the latter stages of the FA Cup, if we were in the Champions League and had to play like whatever knockout stages, early doors, the preliminary rounds. Like, you're talking about an extra 20 around 20 games in a season.
Yeah.
And look at our squad now when they've just been playing in the league, basically. Because the cup team has been a cup team. The cup team hasn't been the likes of Partey and stuff like that. And Partey's been out for 3 times this year. Kieron Tierney's been out twice this season. His season's been knocked short. Xhaka had a stint out, but everyone has been injured, and we've only been playing minimal games. So if we're playing Champions League, Saliba will be used. Like, this notion that Saliba is going to be sitting on the bench, and he's and one of the key things for me that he said, was sitting on Arsenal's bench is not sitting in the under-23s.
Yeah,
that is I can't. For me, I'm like, he just said it. He was upset because he was sitting in the under-23s. He went from men's football to under-23s. You can understand that. You're going to be a bit miffed. However, he has clearly stated the under-23s is different to playing in the men's team, in the first team. He feels like he's got an opportunity if he's sitting on the bench for the men's team and he can come on the pitch. That's what he's saying. If I'm sitting on the bench in the first team, okay. But if I'm sitting in the under-23s playing, then that's a problem because I'm going backwards. So I think big season for Saliba. If I was Arsenal, I'd be saying, sorry, mate, you're staying. You're staying. No matter what you want to do, you're staying. You'll get enough game time to be in that French squad. Mind you, there was like 5 players missing from that French team when he got called up. So, like, and 2 of them were like main players as well. So, like, I don't. Would he get in the French squad with a full team? I don't know. Maybe he would. Maybe he wouldn't. But I think it's still early for him anyway. He's 20, 21, 22.
Yeah.
But at best, you're talking about a centre back. Like, just I think they need to relax. There's also, what other positions do you feel like we need? Centre midfielder?
I'd love a new centre midfielder. Yeah.
Number 8
midfielder. Yeah.
Who would be our ideal signing? I think we need to do the the transfer market. You can buy. You got a budget of whatever. You can bring in as many players as you want. There's your budget.
Yeah.
150.
For me, I know like Arteta likes to play with this 4-3-3, doesn't he? With like Partey at the base and then two people either side. But for me, I like having two players in at the base because I just think it's too much. I know Partey's done well there, but I think it's so much responsibility for him. See, for me, I think Partey and Basuma would be quality together. I think that is a proper solid central midfield, and then you let the forward guys do their jobs.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say is I feel like we're missing someone to take that ball from centre midfield and move forward. I don't think we've got a number 8. I don't think we've got a box to boxer. For me, Eve Basuma ain't a box to boxer.
I'll tell you what,
he's missing key elements to be a serious box to boxer. He can do a job, but he's not. I don't want someone to do a job. Granit Xhaka's doing a job. Like I want someone who is the player. Yeah, I like Frankie De Jong. For me, he'd be my ideal signing. I think he's got everything. He can win the ball. Very good passer, vision, very good, and he's good at dribbling. Can take that ball from midfield to the forward line. Who else is there? There's a few out there, but yeah, he would be my ideal one.
I think we definitely need at least one, 100%.
Yeah, because you can't go to a situation where we're in the same spot as we were this season, where we were having to play Lokonga or El Nene. Now, El Nene again has done a job, but El Nene will be a year older, and yes, a year wiser, but a year less pace, a year less mobility, a year less this, a year less that. Now, yes, these players are doing jobs in their positions, but like they've taken us, like the games against Liverpool, the games against Man City show you that when we are at our best, we can keep them at bay. Now, if we want to move forward, we need to bring in a bit more quality so that we, at our best, we can beat them. Yeah. Now, we're not going to beat them every game. We're not going to beat them most games because to play at your best 90 minutes every game is hard. Yeah. However, it's about moving forward. And I think Arsenal are taking those steps forward, sitting there and happy that we held Man City until went down to 10 men is nice at the time. But like we want to move on from that and actually start getting some points against these teams. So I think bringing in a centre midfielder is going to help that. One player that Arsenal are linked with is Bologna's Aaron Hickey. He played alongside our good friend Tomiyasu as well. I spoke to Stevie Grieve, who is the Dundee United. He's one of their scouts. I asked him about Aaron Hickey, and he said that he's a very good player. This is before he went to Bologna. He's a very good player.
Really?
Lots of potential, good pace, good tackler. But it's just about getting game time. And since he's gone to Bologna, he seems to have had that. And he's looking good. Do you have a little look at him?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. He's been an ever present for them. I think he only just turned 20. Mm-hmm. You know what? Before he went to Bologna, there was links of him with Bayern Munich, and I think he went to Bologna because I think it felt maybe more like a bit of a family club for him. And I'll tell you why I think it will a player that will attract Arteta is because he seems to be one of these fullbacks that's two-footed. And so there's been clips of him when he's playing left back, he'll cut inside and he'll put in a cross with his right foot that's like the one that Martinelli put in for Gabriel at the weekend. And you couldn't tell that's his weaker foot.
Yeah.
I think he looks more of a sort of defensive fullback than an attacking one. But at the same time, I think he looks very technically secure on the ball. And he can go down the wing, but he can also cut inside. And I think he's quite a front-footed defender, whereby he'll try and like nick the ball, try and win the ball. Seems quite hard to get past. Seems like as I said, quite a solid defender for someone so young. And to play, I think up until he turned 20, which was only recently, he played like the most amount of minutes in Europe for a teenager.
Yeah.
So he's played lots of football. Also, a nice one. He scored 5 goals this season. That makes him, I think, Bologna's second highest goal scorer.
Yeah, I did see.
Well.
I didn't see that he scored 5 goals, but I saw a couple of the goals that he did score as well. Like a couple of nice shots from the edge of the area.
Yeah, absolutely. And for someone so young to play that often, I mean, he's like, I think 2 years younger than Tavares.
Yeah.
The fact that he could play left back or right back, that makes him very, very attractive indeed. And obviously, hopefully, I guess Arsenal have probably got quite a nice relationship with Bologna, doing that deal with Tomiyasu, and wouldn't cost the earth. So yeah, it's very, very interesting. But I think he's made his debut as well for Scotland, for the full Scottish team already.
Yeah.
They've got a few good left backs, haven't they, Scotland?
They're not bad.
Yeah.
Kieron Tierney, Robertson, and Aaron Hickey as well.
Yeah, he's got that. I think he's got that sort of aggressive nature when it comes to the tackling.
Yes. Stand up tackling as well, not necessarily diving in. He's very, 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 very good timing on his tackles. Definitely a player to watch. Definitely a player to watch. I don't know how much there is actually in the rumor, but we'll make sure we look into it. So keep an eye on this one.
These players can sometimes go under the radar when they play for these type of clubs, can't they? Without no disrespect, but I guess people don't really follow Bologna so much, maybe, so they wouldn't be aware perhaps of this player. Yeah,
it shows the level of maturity that he's got. That he's gone to Bologna. He chose to go abroad first of all, gone to Bologna, a different speaking language, and he's doing really well there as well. So it remains to be seen what happens next. I think Scotland. There's a fair few players from Scotland that have decided to go that route with regards to going to foreign countries. A couple of them didn't quite work out. I think a few injuries has sort of stunted their progression. But look, if there's one place for a defender that you're going to go, Italy's definitely one to choose.
That's it.
Great education there. All right, before we go, we're going to get on to the Leeds game. Jerome, big game coming up on Sunday. Arsenal take on Leeds at home. Any worries about this game?
Oh, mate, I think every game there's always that just in the back of your mind, just because of sort of how much is on the line, I think.
Yeah.
And obviously we're going to be expected to win. I think against Chelsea, maybe United, maybe West Ham as well away, we weren't perhaps maybe expected to win, but now we're definitely going to be expected, and we'll be in the position whereby we'll know how Spurs have got on against Liverpool the night before. So yeah,
I mean, I'd rather not know. I fully expect Liverpool to win, but you just never know. You just never know.
Yeah,
you never know with this Spurs team. They seem to just pull it out the bag when you think this one they're going to lose, and then this one they're going to win. You just can't call it with this team.
Yeah, I've heard people say that Man City Spurs game has like scarred them a bit in terms of when it like for this sort of Liverpool Spurs game.
Yeah.
But yeah, now obviously this is a game where probably we'll have maybe more possession than we're used to. So will Arteta stick with Xhaka and Elneny in midfield, knowing that that's a bit more of a conservative midfield? Will he bring Lokonga in?
What would you do?
To be honest with you, I think I'd probably stick with what's been working so far. It's got results. I don't think I'd make too many changes. What I might do is I might maybe bring Smith Rowe in for Martinelli, perhaps, just to freshen that up a bit. Other than that, I think I'd keep it as is. To be honest, but it's hard because we haven't been playing well. We've been getting results, so
yeah. Look,
isn't it?
the Chelsea and Man United games, we played really well in patches. Like the first half of Chelsea, I feel like the first half of Chelsea, we were not good.
Yeah.
Like we were okay. We held Chelsea at bay. We took the lead twice, which was really good. But yeah, our passing was disgusting. And not a good disgusting. It was awful. It stunk. We kept on passing the ball back to them.
Yeah.
And against Man United, we were good in patches. We let Man United get into the game again. And then we scored a goal at the perfect time. That Xhaka goal could not have come at a better time for us because Man United started to get back in the game. And
Right.
then for me, there was no danger. And that was generally for the majority of the second half. And for against West Ham, we were just not good. Not good in possession, I should say. Because out of possession, we were good. We were tight. Tommy Ashley was good. The defenders were good. Yes, we conceded a goal. However, West Ham, I can't really remember him in the second half, even troubling Ramsdale. I think the what's his name? The Declan Rice header was in the first half, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can't really remember too many times where Aaron Ramsdale had to do anything in the second half.
No.
So it shows that our defence, we were tight and we were compact and we were disciplined. So that side of thing, yeah, that's great. It's just going forward that I think we need to fix up on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's we've only 4 games left. If we scraped everyone 1-0, I'll be I'll take it right now.
Absolutely.
But look at the Leeds, yeah, is the easiest game because we've got Tottenham away, Newcastle away,
yeah,
which is a tough team on a Monday, and then we've got Everton in the last game of the season, and they could be fighting for the last game of the season.
Yeah.
It looks like they will be.
Yeah.
But if you are talking about like a really great way to end the final day of the Premier League, it's relegating Frank Lampard and knocking Tottenham out of full spot. Like that, what a day that would be.
Yeah.
Brilliant day. All right. That is all we have time for. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, Jerome.
Yeah, cool. Cheers. Thanks.
And everyone who's watching, make sure you press that like and subscribe button. If you're watching on Twitter, hit that subscribe button. Hit the link. Hit the link below. I always put it in the comment section. Hit that link below. Come and join us live in the chat. And have your say as well. Big game coming up for Arsenal on Sunday. Make sure you join us at 4:00 for the post-match reaction live and the player ratings as well. It's going to be a big one. Make sure you join us. Peace out, people. Stay safe and wash your hands.